everybody, welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today, coming at you with an interesting video. Today I want to take you through a process of repairing the carburetor on this lawnmower. We're going to put in a new carburetor gasket kit. Okay, this happens to be a 3.5 horsepower Briggs and Stratton Murray lawnmower. Now let me show you what happens and why I think we need to change this set. So I go ahead and start. Starts a little bit and then it dies. So we go ahead and we start the lawnmower. It runs for a couple seconds and then it dies. So again, this is a carburetor gasket with diaphragm. This is a kit. One more time. I'm going to go ahead and install it today. And hopefully this will fix our problem. Okay, right here I have a table full of tools. This is the table I'm going to set the lawnmower on. First thing I want to recommend that you might need is a small paring knife. Small, something thin. It could be a razor blade or anything like that. This is something that we might not need. This is just in case we need something thin to peel the old gasket off. Okay, I have two combination wrenches. I have a 3/8 and a 1/2 inch. I have a Phillips screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. I'm also going to be using a Makita impact wrench and the appropriate bits, which all we're going to need really is a 3/8 and a 1/2 inch, possibly. I don't even know if I'll use it. And over here I have a towel, you know, in case I need to clean my hands. And obviously we're going to need this kit. So let me go ahead and take this lawnmower. Pick it up. Set it right there. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I need to do is I need to address this screw right here. This is going to be a flathead screwdriver. This will take off the air cleaner. Long bolt. Pull off the air cleaner. Take a look real quick at your foam air filter inside. If it needs cleaned up, take it into the house with some dish soap and water. Clean that baby up. Don't forget this small gasket right here. I usually lay everything right there together and I set that aside. From here I have 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3. Those are all 1/2 inch, and I have one 3/8 bolt. I'm going to take those out. Looks like I'm probably not even going to use my impact wrench. And as I'm taking them out, I'm looking at them to make sure that nothing's longer, make sure they're all the same size, things of that nature. So I have 3 bolts. They're all the same size. I'm just going to set them all right there, right on top of my Makita bits box. I'm just setting everything right here just to get it out of the way. Now from here we have the 3/8 bolt that we need to remove. So that's that. 3/8. I'm going to set it over there with the rest of them. From here I'm just going to kind of pull this bracket. Let me release the spark plug so I can get this bracket off. I'm just going to fold this basically on top of the motor housing here. for just a second. Now, this will give me access to these Phillips bit screws. Okay, if you look very closely right here to the top of the carburetor, there is a total of 5 Phillips screws. Okay, so I'm going to take my Phillips screwdriver right here, and I'm going to remove these 5 screws. There's 1. 2. Let me change my angle. Get to the other side and show you the other 3. Move this back. There's 1 way in the back. Now also, while I'm here, I'm going to take my flathead and I'm just going to kind of push this rubber grommet here off. This is an air intake grommet. Just taking that baby off and setting that aside as well. So I've got that back one loose. Let me get these other 2. From here, I can start to wiggle this carburetor up. And there's another thing that I need to do, and that is remove this disconnect right here. But I can't quite do it until I move this carb up a little bit. One more thing I missed. Sorry about that. One more 3/8 nut that I missed. Forgot that was in there. What this will do is this will loosen the gas tank, and that'll allow things to start coming loose. And what'll happen, if I remember correctly, is the gas tank will actually drop down off of the carburetor. So bear with me, I know my fingers are in the way there. So I'm just kind of pulling this down. There's a bolt, and then there's a little collar. Okay, those are the 2 that hold the gas tank to get on. So I've dropped the gas tank, and you can see that the carburetor is kind of like floating there. What I need to do is I need to kind of shimmy this carburetor away from the mower. Okay, so I'm just kind of pulling it away from the intake manifold. And at the same time, this little straw and everything that's in the gas tank, just kind of pulling things back, pulling things out. Once I can get this loose, it'll allow me to pull this hose out of the gas tank. There we go. You see how I got that hose out? Now I can disconnect from this linkage right here. Make sure that you keep the gas tank upright, somewhat level, otherwise you'll be leaking fuel like I was just now. Now that you have your carburetor in your hand, look at the bottom, flip it upside down. Let's take these other 2 screws out while we're here. We have the 5 screws out of this thing, and I'm going to pull this gasket off. This is actually the diaphragm. I'm also going to pull this small gasket off of the bottom of the jet. I'm just setting that stuff aside for now. And this spring. Now we can open our kit. Genuine parts. A little bit of instructions. There is our diaphragm. There's a gasket. There's our new fuel filter, I guess you could call it, gasket filter, and there's a new spring. So we're going to take the new filter, putting it right on top of the old jet, just like so. I have the new spring in my hand. I'm putting it on as well. Everything looks good so far. Now I have the new diaphragm, and it only goes on one way. It either fits or it don't. So it's pretty simple to figure out. It only goes on one way. From here, I'm going to take the gasket, which should be corresponding, putting the gasket right on top of the diaphragm. From here, I'm going to flip this whole mess over and I'm going to put it right on top of the gas tank, starting by putting this fuel line down into the tank. Everything's lined up. Now I'm going to take my 5 screws and secure the carburetor to the gas can. I'm not making anything tight yet, so I'm not cinching anything down, and none of this stuff needs to be super tight anyway. Just needs to be snug. After all, this carburetor housing is plastic and we don't want to break it. So we're just snugging things up, nothing tight. Or should I say nothing gorilla tight. So I'm coming behind and I'm just giving them a little snug, nothing too crazy. Don't want to get too overbearing on it. Once you get everything cinched down, then we need to come back over here and reattach the linkage. So it was this small linkage that goes into this hole right here. So I'm going to go right here. I'm just going to put that linkage in. You kind of got to work it in there. There we go. So now I have this linkage connected. Now I'm going to take the rubber gasket part of the carburetor and I'm going to lift it up onto the intake manifold. I'm just going to kind of push it on. Now remember this bolt and this spacer, this is going to hold the gas tank in place. So I'm putting the spacer in between the motor housing and the gas tank. See it back there? Right back there, the spacer that I just put in. Now the gas tank bolt. Again, this is a 3/8 bolt. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten that baby in. Now this doesn't have to be gorilla tight easy, either I should say. just snug. Just enough to hold the thing in place. You want one good cinch down on it. Nothing too crazy. That's probably good. Now we'll take our rubber air intake. Half of it goes onto this pipe here, and the other half is going to kind of flex back and go around the carburetor intake, air intake portion. So everything's like that. See that? Now from here I'm going to take this panel that we took off originally. Let me get my camera reset here. I'm going to take this panel and lay it back down. Put the small bolt in first. This is the 3/8. And I had those 3 1/2-inch bolts. Doesn't matter which one goes where. Remember, they were all the same length. Just kind of push them in. There we go. Kind of tightening them by hand. Tightening everything by hand. Whoops. There we go. One good snug. Make sure that you don't forget to connect the spark plug back up. Otherwise, we won't get any fire. There's 2. And let's go for the 3rd one. Mosquitoes. So they're kind of snug. They're not gorilla tight. Now let's do our 3/8 bolt. There we go. Looking good. From here we want to test this prime button. So we're going to look down in there as we push the priming button, and we're going to look for fuel. We're going to make sure it's squirting fuel. So let me zoom in real quick. Watch that. The fuel will squirt from right here. So watch. See that squirt? We got a good squirt, so we're good on our priming. Everything's good. Now, last but not least, we're going to take our air cleaner gasket and our air cleaner, and we're going to put all this back on. Okay, again, air cleaner gasket first. Looks like I dropped my bolt underneath. And the air cleaner itself goes right on top. Put that bolt back in. And tighten the air cleaner down. Now normally I would clean the air cleaner, but I'm kind of running out of daylight today. I'm going to go ahead and prime it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And I can tell you that that prime feels a lot better than it did when I started. It's got more resistance. Now let me put this thing on the ground. We'll start it and see if it runs. Okay, let's take a look and see what we have here. Prime it one more time. looks much better. Now let's take a look and see how it looks on the grass. Well, everybody, looks like that mower is running much better. So I want to say thank you for taking the time to watch a video with me today on fixing my lawnmower, installing that carburetor kit. I hope you found some good useful information. Please feel free as always to like, share, thumbs up, and subscribe. We'll talk to you later. Have a beautiful day. Bye bye.